Hi, everybody. Today we have Jill from the University of Manitoba with us today, and we were just chit-chatting about Canada and how large Canada is. And so Jill's going to share with us specifically about Manitoba, and she will maybe share where she's from, because I think that's interesting. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Jill, and then take it away.
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. I'm so excited to share with you guys some info about the University of Manitoba. So we're a Canadian school in the province of Manitoba, which you may or may not have heard of before. But I can talk a little bit about my experience because I was actually an international student at the U of M from Minnesota, from the Minneapolis area. So I took a chance, wanted an international experience, something new, and I had a really awesome time at the U of M. So I'm so excited to tell you about all of our opportunities. All right. So I like to start off with a map of Canada because, at least personally, when I was in high school, I didn't know anything about Canadian geography. So we're in a province, so like a state called Manitoba, in a city called Winnipeg. So we are right in the middle of the country, and we're called the heart of Canada because we're the exact center of Canada. So you can actually stand in Winnipeg and be at the exact geographical center. It's even a fancy sign for it. And because we're known for being some of the friendliest and most welcoming people in Canada. And we're about halfway between Toronto and Vancouver. So you may have heard of those cities. It's about a 2 to 3 hour flight in either direction from there. And we're about an hour from the US border, and we share a border with Minnesota and North Dakota. So we're in a prairie landscape. So that means that it's a flat geography, lots of nature. So just for some context, Winnipeg is a pretty big city. We have just over 800,000 people, but something that I think makes it really different from other cities in Canada is you have the big city that you live in, but right when you leave the city, there's not really a lot of suburbs or anything like that. So you're in nature immediately. So you can go to the lake or the beach or walking trails or hiking. So I love that sort of mix of big city and easily being close to nature and being able to explore the great Canadian outdoors. So that's one of my favorite things about the city. So you may have heard a little bit about Canada. I know we have a bit of a reputation for being tolerant and welcoming, and that is most definitely something I found when I moved here. Personally, I didn't know anyone in the whole country when I moved to Canada. So I was really excited to meet people, and that was something that was really easy to do here because I found people were so friendly and open to meeting new people and just really tolerant of people from all different backgrounds and cultures. Canada is made up of people from all around the world. So it really, really is a melting pot of people from different backgrounds and cultures. And that's something you'll find when you go out in Canada, whether it's the people you meet, the restaurants you go to, the events you go to. That's one thing that makes Canada what it is. So I think you'll find that we are really open and friendly. And we're also known for being one of the safest countries for international students to study in. So like I mentioned, we're in Winnipeg. And when you're thinking about coming to Canada and maybe comparing some of the different cities you might be looking at, one thing that really sets Winnipeg apart is our very low cost of living compared to Canadian cities and American cities. So we actually have the #1 most cost competitive city to live in across all of the US and Western Canada. So your dollar will go really far living here. And you can see kind of on this graph here, the comparison of rent prices in Winnipeg versus more expensive cities like Vancouver. So a really great value city to live in. And one thing that I always am sure to talk about is the weather in Canada. So I've heard all kinds of crazy things that people think about whether we see polar bears or if we go outside in the winter or how cold it gets in Canada. And that's not something that I knew about either before I came here. But we do have all 4 seasons, and one of them is winter. So it does get quite cold, but our average temperatures, it's about 8 degrees in winter, although it definitely does get colder than that. As low as, I'm so used to Celsius now, it gets to about like minus 25 Celsius in the coldest months. And then in the summer, it's really quite nice. So the average is almost 80 degrees and we have those nice hot days. So I love being able to experience all seasons. And we are sure to get outdoors all year round, no matter if it's January or the summertime. And we're known actually for being one of the sunniest cities in North America. So we have 318 days of sunshine per year. It's even light in the summer till almost 11 p.m. So really bright. And one thing I love about Winnipeg is that there's lots to do. And I like to describe Winnipeg as kind of a big city with a little bit of a smaller town feel because it's really easy to meet people here and explore the city. It's pretty condensed. It's not very spread out. So I like that. And we have a lot of things, whether it's festivals or parks in the city, there's always something to do. One thing that I like to talk about is in the picture, you can see the boat there. In the summers, we actually have a river taxi. So Winnipeg is on 2 rivers that meet, and we actually are the trading center of Canada because of that. And you can take the river boat to all different parts of the city instead of driving. So that's one of my favorite things to do. And I'll show you a little video that talks about Winnipeg, and it lets you actually see all of the things.
To say we're an eccentric bunch is an understatement. We work hard, we play hard. But we also know about the finer things in life. Like taking in nature and sharing a sense of wonder. We are the center of Canada, and upon arrival, you will get a warm welcome in almost any language.
Buenos días.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Mabuhay. Sat Shri Akal.
Bienvenue à Winnipeg!
We may do things a little different around here, but we think you will like it.
We're a city that embraces all 4 seasons, like patio season.
Festival season. Shopping season.
And of course, our famous winters. You may ask how we've mastered the cold. Well, it inspires us.
We build warming huts and a restaurant on the frozen river, then serve you tasting menus and champagne, naturally. We build giant snow statues, throw the best kitchen parties, and have people dance into the early hours at the best winter extravaganza you have ever seen.
We hurry hard and put fun right on the button. With our shiny new attractions.
We are at the heart of Canada's art scene, with outstanding museums and galleries, one-of-a-kind architecture, celebrated restaurants, and a vibrant indie music scene. We are Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. We would like you to visit. Come, take part of the show.
Jill, I have to tell you something. I totally thought that was Kevin Bacon. He looks just
look like him.
He does, and but that video was amazing. I loved it. Just had to
Awesome. I love it too. It really makes me smile, and it makes me want to run outside and go to all the restaurants that I love that I saw in the video. And honestly, it makes me kind of excited for winter when I see it too. I'm like, it is so fun. So yeah, every time I watch that, no matter how many times I've seen it, it always kind of pumps me up. So, so fun. Yeah, I think that video does such a great job just showing some of the fun things you can do in Winnipeg. And you get to see a little bit of the French culture, which you do get in Canada, kind of have that intersection of English and French. And we even have an entirely French neighborhood in Winnipeg if you want to practice your language skills. And you can see, like I mentioned, lots of the things that we do outside in the winter. We even have a river, actually the one that you can see in the picture here, that turns into an ice skating trail that's miles long. So I used to live on the river and I would ice skate to brunch at like our outdoor market place in the winter. So much fun. So yeah, lots of fun things to do. So I'll talk a bit about our campus. So we are a big university. We have almost 30,000 students, but our campus has a smaller feel. And that's something that I know I was really looking for when I was looking at universities. I didn't want to have to take a bus to my classes, and I wanted to be able to just navigate campus really easily. So that's something that I love. You can easily walk between your classes in less than 15 minutes. Don't even have to bring a bike. So that's awesome. And we're kind of like a little town within the city of Winnipeg. So we have everything you need. We even have a doctor's office, a dental office, a pharmacy, a pub, restaurants, all on campus. And we're in a residential neighborhood. So in the city, but in a really safe area with a lot of apartments and houses that you can live in close to campus. And we're right along the river and next to a big park. So really pretty and safe place to be. And we even have tunnels underground. So on those cold winter days, you can choose to go down there. It's just like a hallway underground that can take you between all of your classes. So that makes things nice and toasty. So I'll talk about our programs in a little bit, but we have over 100 options to choose from. And we are the oldest university in all of Western Canada. So we were founded in 1877. And we actually started off as an agricultural college, and that's still a huge industry in our province. And we're a member of U15. So that's a group in Canada of the most prestigious group of universities. It's the 15 research intensive universities in the country. So I'll talk about our student experience, starting with the dorms. And student experience is something that really I love to talk about, and it means a lot to me. Because like I mentioned, I came from the US as well, and I didn't know anyone in Canada. So I really got involved. I lived in the dorms, and that made me have such a fun experience in university. So I definitely recommend doing as much as you can. So our culture for dorms in Canada is a little bit different than the US. So we have a smaller number of students who choose to live in the dorms across Canada, including at our university. So you'll find some students living off campus or at home, but personally, having been an international student, I really recommend living in the dorms if you can. So we do have 6 different buildings, and you'll find actually in Canada, there's a lot more single dorm room options. So a lot more private spaces that are still really social, so you can leave your room and still meet friends easily. But we have dorms like in the picture that have your own bathroom and shower in your room. So really nice, that's the one I lived in. And you even have a wall that's all glass overlooking the river or downtown. Or you can have more traditional style shared or single rooms. So the big thing to consider when you want to live in the dorms is to apply early. The dorm applications open November each year. So it's best to submit your application between November and May. It's first come, first served, and it does fill up quickly. And we have lots to get involved in. We have over 150 student groups. So my favorite one is the Dairy Club. Like I said, agriculture is huge for us. So we have students who make ice cream and cheese as part of the Dairy Club. Or you can do swing dancing, circus club, robotics, accounting, whatever you want. I'm sure you'll find lots to do. And that's what I did. I was in a sorority and a few other student groups, and I loved it. And I'm still friends with all those people to this day. And we have a really great gym called the Active Living Center. I even still go there, even though I'm no longer a student, because I love it so much. We have tons of weights, a huge running track, lots of swimming pools, and tons of free fitness classes. So you could go to a yoga class in between your school classes. So lots of ways to stay active and involved. And I do want to talk about some work experience opportunities, because when you're thinking about going to school in Canada versus the US, one of the things that I really find sets our universities apart is a huge focus on work opportunities during your degree. So you may not have heard of a co-op program before, but that's really common in Canada. And it's something that we have a lot of options for at the University of Manitoba. So a co-op is kind of like an internship. It's a paid work experience program where you get to do usually 3 semesters of full-time paid work placements at 3 different companies before you graduate. So you get 1 year of work experience during your degree. It usually extends your graduation by 1 semester, but you get that 1 full year of paid work experience. So really cool opportunity. The pay is quite good. Our minimum wage in Canada is quite high, but co-op students make even higher than that. So computer science, an average of almost $20 an hour. And you can see some of the companies that students can work with. So whether you're in agriculture, engineering, architecture, or some of our other programs, we have some great job placements. So Cargill is a large agriculture company and they're based in Winnipeg. So we have a lot of partnerships with them, with the government. Boeing has an aerospace center in Canada, and Ubisoft has part of their headquarters here as well. And we've even had students go on to do their co-ops in California with Amazon and Google, which have a small number of placements for students all from North America. So we're really proud to have our students selected for those. And one of the best reasons to choose co-op beyond just getting that work experience and references is the employment opportunities when you're done. So in our business school, almost all of our co-op students were employed in their field full-time after graduation. We also have exchange opportunities. So I did one of those in Denmark. I loved it. It was so much fun. And it's different at our school compared to a lot of universities because we don't have you pay any extra tuition to study abroad. So you can go to any of our partner schools and still pay our same tuition price. So really great opportunity. So I'll talk briefly about some of our program options. So for our programs, we have 2 different types. So we have direct entry programs and advanced entry. So direct entry means that you can start those programs right from high school. So you can apply right away to study those. Advanced entry are programs that we need you to do 1 or more years at our university or a different university before you can start those. So we just want to see your first year courses. So something like nursing or architecture, those are just some examples of advanced programs. So you might want to start out doing general studies and then apply to those later on. So I'll talk about some of our program options coming up here, but anything with that little star next to the name means that it has that co-op option where you can get that work experience. So we have lots of options in creative areas. And one of the things we're known for is actually our School of Architecture. And we have one of the only interior design or one of few interior design programs in Canada, as well as lots of specialty options. So at a lot of schools, when you're looking at architecture, you just can focus on general architecture. But at our school, you can actually do a specialty option. So you can do interior design, landscape architecture or urbanism, so city planning or architecture. And then we have the School of Art, so painting, drawing, sculpting, or graphic design, so a lot of options there. And we have all the facilities you need, including the software and fabrication labs to succeed. And then we do have a really fantastic music school. It is conservatory style, so it is a higher level of music studies, quite an intense program, and we do require an audition and a music theory test in order to go into music. So just so you know, it's a bit more of an involved admission process, and the audition can be done remotely. And then we have lots of areas in the sciences. So I mentioned that we're a research university. So we do have a big focus on the sciences at our school as well. We started off as an agricultural school, and that's not something that a lot of people think of pursuing, but there's so many job opportunities in that, and most of them are actually in cities. So you could study food sciences, which is coming up with new ingredients and technology for food and sustainability practices, or you could do general agriculture or agronomy, lots of cool options. And then we have a fantastic engineering school. We have one of the top mechanical engineering programs in Canada. So we offer mechanical, civil, computer, electrical, and biospace engineering. And we also have an aerospace specialty as well. And that is a competitive program for us. So if you're interested in engineering, we really want you to focus on your English class, your pre-calculus math, chemistry, and physics. Those are the important ones. And then we have a separate faculty for environment, earth, and resources, which I think is really cool that we separate that from our general sciences. You can do all kinds of really fun field experience courses, whether you go to Banff National Park in the mountains, take a course there, or maybe you do our storm chasing course where you can chase tornadoes in the US. So pretty crazy, but that is a great thing to go into if you're interested in conservation. And then we have kinesiology, which is the study of movement and muscles, and rec management, which is more along events and community development. And then we have over 50 programs in science. So many options, including a new data science major, which we're really excited about. And that's definitely the future of a lot of careers. So that's a great program to go into. And we also have one of the oldest actuarial math programs in North America. So that's one of our top programs if you're interested in being an actuary. We have that in business and science. And then we do have nursing as well. And then we do have our humanities programs. So I was actually a graduate from the Faculty of Arts. So that's like the College of Liberal Arts for us. So I did a degree with a really long name called Global Political Economy. It's a mix of history, politics, anthropology, sociology, all kinds of things. And I loved it. And we have lots of language options as well. And we have our business school. With our degree at the U of M, we do give a Bachelor of Commerce honors degree instead of a BBA. But we have all kinds of cool programs, whether you want to do actuary or entrepreneurship. And we even have an entrepreneurship center that can help you for free to bring your business ideas to life. We also have things like finance, accounting, international business, and more. And lastly, we do have education, law, and social work, but those are advanced entry programs. So you do need to study for at least 1 year or more for all of those programs. Education, if you want to be a teacher at our school, education is actually a second degree. So that's pretty unique. You do have to study a degree in what you want to teach first, then study education for 2 years after. And then lastly, we have a really unique program called University One. It's a flexible program, and I like to think of it as a general first year program or a blank slate for your first year. And it's pretty unique, but basically it just allows you to take any courses you want to in your first year. So there's no common generals that will make students take. You can design your own first year to be whatever you'd like it to be. And I did that. I actually wasn't sure if I wanted to study business or politics. Turns out business was not for me, but I learned that in U1. And I was like, man, I don't like business at all, but I loved my politics courses. So that kind of set me on the right path of a program that I really loved. So the differences between U1 and maybe choosing to go directly into a program like business or science or something like that is that it just gives you more room to explore. So with U1, it's a great choice if you are interested in one of those advanced programs like social work or something like that, where you do need to study a bit first. Or it's great if you're undecided about what you want to study. So that's most of the students in U1. And it is our most popular program by far for incoming students. So most students do choose to do U1. It's also a good option if maybe you don't have the correct courses or grades to get into your direct program. Otherwise, you can go directly into a program if you're certain it's what you want to study. So we actually designed U1 to let you take that without adding any time onto your degree for most students. So it's still the first year of your degree program. It's just that the courses you take in U1 will be applied towards your graduation, whether it's through elective courses or your graduation required courses. So you'll still graduate in 4 years. After you're done with U1, you have two options. You can either automatically go into arts or science without having to apply, or you can apply to year 2 of your program of choice using those grades that you got in U1. So pretty cool program. Talk briefly about the application process. And our application process in Canada in general, but at our university, is quite different than schools in the US. And we really place an emphasis on grades. So at the U of M, we don't take SAT or ACTs at all into consideration. We don't even take overall GPA. What we're really focusing on is looking at 4 or 3 courses, depending on the program you apply for. And those courses are related to what you want to study. So for direct entry, typically we're looking for about an A- average or higher over 3 courses related to your program. So I'll use science as an example. They're looking for an A- average over your English, your math, and one of your sciences from grade 12. And that's it. So we'll do a check to make sure you passed your courses in grade 12. So we don't want to see any failed courses. But for admission, we really only look at those 3 courses, A- average or higher. And then for U1, it's a bit more general. So U1 has a bit lower requirement than our direct programs. So they're looking for a B- average over your English, your math, and then your other top 2 courses from grade 12. And those can be anything as long as they're academic courses. So it could be geography, it could be biology, it could be film studies, whatever your best grades are. We'll just take that off of your transcript. So as you can see, pretty different than other schools you may be applying to, really the emphasis on just a few courses. And for most of our programs, we aren't looking at essays or letters of recommendation either. I think the only exceptions to that would be fine arts and music. So just grades. So our applications open in October. So that's when you can start to apply. And the deadline to apply is March 1st. And we do give offers on a rolling basis. So we can actually use grade 11 grades to give you an earlier offer of admission. So that's awesome if you want to apply early. And then we'll just ask you to send your midterm grades and your final grades once you get them to us so that we can make sure you meet the requirements for your program. And we do want to see those midterm grades by May 1st, final grades by July 7th. And at the U of M, we do give advanced credit and special scholarships for AP and IB. We do give credit for AP results of 4 and higher, and same with IB. So lots of great options for that. And if you get one of our general entrance scholarships, you can even get an extra $150 to $250 for each AP course you do. So pretty cool. So our tuition costs actually for international students is known for being some of the lowest in North America. So this is in Canadian dollars. So our tuition cost for students ranges as low as about 14,800 Canadian. So that you would take about 25% off of that to get the US dollar cost to 22,000. And then we have dorm packages that range a lot in price from just over $7,000 to just under $14,000. So really great value for your tuition costs as an international student. And if you're from Minnesota, we do have an agreement with the state of Minnesota, so you could pay Canadian tuition fees, which are as low as about $3,500 US dollars per year. And then we have financial support. So the greatest thing about applying to our university is that we give automatic scholarship consideration based on your grades. So it's a merit scholarship. And we do that as long as you apply by March 1st and you meet our grade requirements and have scholarship eligible courses. So we'll let you know if you got a scholarship, and it would be either $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 off your tuition. We also take FAFSA funding as well, and we can give out needs-based bursaries too. Thank you so much. It was great to talk with you guys about the U of M.
That was great. Thank you, Jill. That was really, really helpful. And to your last point there, as I mentioned to you earlier today, that the financial piece, it's such a, I mean, in terms of affordability, the Canadian university options are just a great, I feel like students should all be looking at options outside of our what we have here in the US, which are, you know, we have lots of great options, but certainly, you know, I think especially like you said, you've got some great scholarship opportunities in addition to what you're, in terms of, you know, already having really reasonable fees and at the onset. So that was great. And I like that you have that University One option. That's a really great option for those kids who don't, like you said, who don't necessarily know what they want to do, but don't, you know, oftentimes students do spend that time that first year kind of just randomly, you know, taking courses that maybe don't end up counting towards anything and then end up being in school for additional time. So it's nice that they have that guidance to be able to go through that program. So Amy, do you have any questions for Jill? Is there anything that either she didn't cover or you want her to expand on?
Yeah, I do have a question about that University One direct entry. So if a student chooses to take the University One that first year and then decides to switch over and enroll in their program, would they be taking classes then with freshman students who started right away in direct entry, or would they still be kind of moving along with their peers?
So do you mean if a student chooses U1 and then decides to switch focuses sort of midway through the year?
Right. So if I looked at the slide, it looked like the University One student, then you start, like for your first year, then you start your classes, or you could choose to just go like direct entry. And so I guess I was trying to decide, like, if a student was thinking about deciding between those two programs, would they feel like they were either a year ahead or a year behind as they started out their college career?
Gotcha. So U1, you take actually the exact same courses as a student who would go direct. The big difference is that you haven't committed to being in the faculty. So if you're a U1 student who's taking, say, science courses and business courses, when you're in those business classes and science classes, you'll be sitting next to students who did go directly into the program, doing the same coursework, same exact class and same exams and everything. So the big difference is just not committing to that faculty. So not committing to graduating with a business degree. So that's one of the differences with that. And the reason that it won't add time onto the degree in most cases is because we'll have the classes that don't relate to your graduation program end up being your electives. And the ones that do relate will go ahead to fulfill those graduation requirements. So one way or another, they'll go towards your graduation, even if you don't end up taking, say, all business classes in your first year, if you graduate with a business degree. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, so yeah, same coursework. I know a lot of students are worried about that, whether it's different classes or different professors or something like that, but it's same exact coursework. It's just that you get to decide what you take.
One other question, final question, I guess, that I have is in terms of, because the residential piece is so different, are you seeing, is it common for upper class students to stay in the residence halls? Is that an option? Is it not really available? How does that work after their first year or so?
Yeah, good question. It's mostly first year students living in our dorms, but we definitely can have upperclassmen living in them. So for new incoming students, we don't give first year priority. So any brand new student to the U of M has the same chance to live in the dorms, whether they're transfer or coming from high school. But for returning students who've already lived in the dorms, it's a lottery process to remain in the dorms. So that's where it sort of changes, and it's sort of pulling a name out of a hat type of situation for staying.
And I said that was my last question, but I actually have one more question. Is in terms of current times, what's happening on campus? Is everyone back to campus? What are some of the things that have changed and what's going on?
Definitely great question. Very relevant. Right now, our fall term is all online, with the really limited exceptions of things that can't be done online for mostly our health related programs. But yeah, we are remote learning right now. And then with the winter term, which you may know of as the spring term, we call it winter term here. We are undecided right now, but we'll be making the decision probably this month. So to be determined on that.
Good. Well, we are very appreciative, Jill, that you took the time to share more about the University of Manitoba with us. It was great. I loved learning more about it, and it seems like such a great option for a lot of kids, and I think young adults, not kids. And so if we have any students who are interested, what's the best path of getting information? Do they have assigned admission counselors? How does that work?
Yeah, so I'm the recruiter for the US, so I'm happy to be in touch with students directly, absolutely. So contact me anytime. Sorry, I don't have my email address on the screen here, but I'll be sure to share that with you. Otherwise, if students want to sign up for our mailing list, that's a way to get in touch as well. We have lots of virtual events coming up throughout the whole year, actually. So that can be found at umconnect.ca. So umconnect.ca.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was great to talk with you, Christina and Amy.
You're welcome. Enjoy the recruitment season. How crazy it is.
Thanks.
You will be just fine. Thanks, Jill.
All right. Thank you.